Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's me, Andrea Jackson, your life coach, and welcome to Joy Life Center Coaching and Consulting. I am so glad that you're here today. It's Friday, and we're going to take a trip. We're going to prepare for that trip. And that trip that we're taking is a trip of healthiness to that better place. So we have some people waiting to come on in. I know you couldn't be here to interact with us, but that's okay. I'm so glad you subscribed. So we're going to get going. Hold on. Good morning. Good morning, Sister Lorena. As others are trying to get their phones off mute or connect. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Some are still struggling to get their phones connected to their audio. But guess what? We're looking forward to a wonderful group. Good morning to you all. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Here it is, Friday. For us that are here, it is Friday. And you know what? What a great day to go on a vacation, take a trip. What a great day to kind of go and maybe see something different. You know, when you look behind me here in my background, you'll see, if you look behind me in my background, you'll see a city, and I don't know if you can see it that well, but there's some homes that may look unfamiliar to you because it's a place that is unfamiliar to me. But there's snow on the ground, and there's snow on the rooftops and things like that. And I don't know about you, but I'm a city girl, so I'm not really used to all that atmosphere, that environment. I've never been there. So in going there, I need to prepare for this trip. I need to prepare to get from where I live, where I grew up, where I'm accustomed to being, where I know the ins and outs, I know the weather, I know the climates. I need to prepare for a trip to where I'm going. That's the unknown. As you know, we say change is ahead. So we're preparing for that trip today. So one of the things that we're going to do on this day is we're going to prepare for that trip of change. We're making some changes to healthier behaviors, but just like a natural trip from sunshiny California to Lord knows where that is in the cold, I may not know exactly how to prepare. So we're going to talk about how do we prepare for emotional change. But before we go there, we're going to go ahead and check in with you, see how everyone is doing today. Let's see. I think Lorena was our first caller, so I'm going to start with her. Good morning, Sister Lorena. Go ahead and check in.
Good morning. Well, I'm feeling much better. I'm trying to get over these flu symptoms, but I'm feeling much better. I was able to do a little bit of homework this morning, and
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. Oh, I'm so glad she battled with that thing, but she was faithful to her process all the way through. I'm so glad you're feeling better. Let's see, who else do we have? Bianca, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm doing well this morning. I declare that this will be a productive day. It started off productive, and it should continue to be a productive day. Thank you.
Good morning. She said, I've declared it. I love it. Thank you so much. Sister Lupe, good morning. You got your audio connected?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning. I'm thanking God for another day. Thanking God for this group. Not only am I learning a lot, I'm also processing a lot of things, and it's kind of like going to a a healing place where I could let my stuff out and get some amazing feedback. Thank you so much for your
Awesome.
obedience, Apostle. Thank
Uh,
God for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. I love that. A healing ground, an atmosphere of healing. I love that. Thank you, Sister Lupe. And let's see, Miss Susu is on the line. Good morning, Miss Susu.
Good morning, Ms. Jackson, and to all that is on the line. I am feeling really blessed, which I'm blessed every day, but I am just so grateful. I'm grateful. You know, sometimes you sit down and reflect back. I am just so grateful what the Lord has done for me, the people
Yes.
He surrounded me with. I just feel exceptionally grateful.
Yes.
That's it.
Awesome. Oh, that's amazing. Sometimes we do feel more grateful than other times. We're grateful. We thank God that He gave us life. I was pondering on that same thing, Miss Susu. I thought about, God could have just, washed us away like He did in the days of Noah, but instead He sent His Son to redeem us. Instead, who are we? Who are we? He could have said, I repent, do over. But instead He said, you know what? I'm going to redeem man rather than rebuke man. So I'm with you there. Just a place of gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you all for your check-ins this morning. We're going to climb this mountain. And whenever you're going somewhere, you're starting from a point A and to a point B, or a point completion, a point Z, wherever it is, however you want to name it. But we start from point A. We start from here, right where we are. And this is why we have to get honest with ourselves. This is why we have to identify if these behaviors are really working for us or not. This is how come we have to come into the maturity of life so that we can decide, hey, stop, excuse me, let me off. I want to get off this insane roller coaster. And we find that sometimes we take our foot to step off the roller coaster, but we somehow or another, instead of getting off, we scoot and keep on going. So sometimes failure, as we call it, and trying again gives us the motivation, the insight, and the knowledge and the wisdom to be able to continue to try again. But we've learned that when we go somewhere, there's some things that we do that just stop like that. I remember I used to smoke Newport cigarettes, and I remember the first time that I stopped smoking, it was a gift. God just delivered me. I went to a 12 noon prayer meeting at a church on my lunch break at school one day, and the man laid hands on me, anointed me, and I stopped smoking cigarettes. But when I relapsed some years later, it took a struggle. It took a fight for me to get out this time. And I thought, oh, all I got to do is just have the man of God lay hands on me, and I'll be clear of that. But one thing I appreciate today that I didn't appreciate then, I appreciate the experiences that God gave me. He gave me the experience of, yes, I'm a miracle worker. I can do this miraculously. But guess what? He also gave me the experience where, no, there's some things I want you to exercise your faith in. So He showed me that He can be immediate, He can be miraculous, but He also showed me He can be faithful in the process. So however we walk out our change, however we walk out our journey, He's faithful. He's right there in it, and He grooms us and teaches us along the way. So since we're going on a trip to change these behaviors, we're going on a journey of change. I like to talk about Abraham. When God called him out from his family place, he said, I need you to leave your family. He left his comfort zone, regardless of how functional or dysfunctional it was. He left his comfort zone just to obey God to get to His promise. So today we're going to our promise. We're going to a healthier place, and we need to prepare for that. So today we're going to talk about preparing for the trip. We're going to climb this mountain. This mount for us is Mount Recovery, and we're going to take a look at where we're going. Sometimes some people are going to get there, just go straight up, no problems, no slips. Like I said before, just a miraculous change. And you're going to get there. You're going to be on the top of Mount Recovery and you're going to be good. But then for some of us, you may have the experience like I had secondarily, that you may have to go through some pitfalls. You have to go through some crying. You have to go through some sweat. You have to go through this process to get to the top. But however you get there, you're going to get there. But it's good to prepare. I heard someone share on yesterday's group that after being aware, they have to prepare. So let's prepare for our trip. One of the things that we know is where we are or where we've been is not the healthiest for us. We've decided that, hey, I'm used to it. It's like sunny California. I'm used to it. I know about the earthquakes. I know how to protect myself. But then when it's over, I go back to being me. Well, now I've decided I don't want to go back to being me. I want to go into a place of change, safety. I want to be able to be flexible. I need to be what I need to be in this world to satisfy my assignment in life, to walk in my purpose, and just to live an overall healthy life. So one thing that we're going to do is tell everybody where we're going. Point number one, we're going to tell everyone where we're going. Telling everyone where we're going is letting them know, you know what? This is my change. This is what I'm doing. If you're trying to stop smoking cigarettes, if you're trying to stop lying, if you're trying to stop being on your phone, internet focus, sexing, texting, enabling, anger, depression, whatever it is, let somebody know, because now you're making yourself accountable to someone. And some of these people can be supportive people in the process. Whenever I'm going on a trip, I'm going to let my mother know. I'm going to let somebody know, hey, I'm going to be gone. So if I'm missing, if I'm not calling, or if something is going on with me, you'll know I'm on that trip. But in this instance, people can identify, oh, I'm not going to smoke in front of her because she asked me not to, because she's doing something different. Or I'm not going to talk that talk in front of him because he asked me not to, because he's trying to make a change in his life. I'm not going to invite them over to these different places that we used to go to because they've already let me know that they're trying to make a change. Let me know. Tell me. Unmute your phone and share. Have you shared with some people that you're making a change? And who might those important people be that you may need to let know, hey, I'm not doing that no more. Hey, I'm going in a different direction. Who do you need to let know? Who have you let know? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
God bless you. This is Sister Lorena. My family, first and foremost.
Yes.
Because even though they wanted to include me in the parties and stuff, they didn't stop drinking. And I didn't ask them to stop drinking, right? That's their life, their choices. I did let them know that I will not be drinking. And as soon as, they get tipsy and, try to, hey, just one, Lorena, come on. And I was like, okay, it's time to go. So it's been difficult because there's sometimes that I can stay later and there's sometimes that I can't handle it. And it's just being aware of that and, vocalizing it. Lately, we haven't been invited to parties anymore. But it's okay.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
I love that, Lorena. She said, we haven't been invited, but guess what? I'm okay with that, because change brings change. I love that. Thank you, Sister Lorena. Anybody else? Who have you let know? What did you let them know and why? Go ahead.
Amen, Miss Susa. Yes, I've let known one of my loved ones, one of the ones that I'm having such issues with, and I heard a sermon the other Sunday about getting rid of Goliath and cutting his head off. Yeah. I told him I'm not gonna only get rid of the situation, I'm gonna cut that head off completely,
Hey.
Set the boundaries. I set for more boundaries, So, and they've been complying pretty good, but it takes time though,
Yes,
it takes time. But yeah, I just let them know, certain things that was happening or going on. It's not going to be, I love you, but Hey, we got to separate some things here.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Awesome. I love that, Miss Susu. You're taking action. And just like Sister Lorena said, sometimes the response is good. Like, okay, no problem. But sometimes the response is you might not get invited again, but that's that acceptance. Like you said, it takes time. It takes time to process what you're doing, especially when the change affects them. Especially when the change affects them. And people in our direct circumference, that's been the relationship. So now that we're changing us, we change the relationship. And sometimes people are not going to be comfortable with that. But guess what? We got to make this change. We got to accept it because we're looking out for ourselves first and foremost. Awesome. Thank you, Miss Susu. Anyone else?
Sister Lupe here. I also, when I go to parties or like for instance, when my son was in football,
Mhm.
they would invite me sometimes to barbecues or some of the single moms will want to go somewhere, hang out and drink. I
Uh-oh.
would always let them know that I'm not drinking and I've been sober. Um, and sometimes they even bring the alcohol to the games and they start drinking. I had one last game. I had one of the dads trying to like basically shove the drink like in my mouth, and his wife he was so drunk he didn't even care about boundaries, or his wife was right there. That's what alcohol does,
That's
right?
what it does.
And she was like, no, no, she was really drunk, but because I've told her so many times that I don't drink, she's like, no, no, she doesn't drink. Leave her alone.
Stop.
So I just kept walking. Like I'll just, I don't hang out with just one person at the games. I walk around and just say hi and maybe chat a little bit with them. And then I keep it pushing once I see them getting too friendly or just the alcohol. And then they know also that I'm a believer. So that just keeps that accountability. Once you put that out there,
Yes.
man, if you even show a side of the world, they're like, "Aren't you Christian?" And I remember there was this cop that was being friendly with me at the game. And one of the moms said, "Well, he's a cop. You should try to talk to him. I was trying to hook you up." And then I kind of like I made an expression, I guess, and then I was like, oh, no, no. I was like, I'm a Christian. They're like, oh, all of a sudden you're a Christian. And I was like, oh my God, like I really got to be on my toes, because sometimes we get a little loose and too comfortable communicating with the people that are still out and about.
Yeah.
And it's funny sometimes, right? It's nothing harmful about it, but at the same time, I make sure they know who I am, so that way even then when I see myself slipping, not only in wanting to drink, also like just starting to say some jokes that probably I shouldn't. It's like, oh yeah, that Christian is out there. So I have to be very, very mindful of that. And my kids as well. For my kids, I'm trying to learn not to, yell at them, just talk to them.
Yeah.
My 10-year-old and my 4-year-old are always fighting, and that's a big age difference. So I used to get very mad when my 10-year-old will hit my smallest because he's big. And
Yeah.
but then I noticed that the baby became very manipulative, where he'll just cry and know that I was coming to rescue it.
Coming to rescue.
And I remember yesterday I was gonna discipline my son, and then something just clicked in me, and I was like, okay, just call me when there's this issue. Don't do it upon yourself and try to discipline him. He's too small. Call me. And then I remember asking him, how did I do? He was like, oh, you didn't do good, but you didn't do bad. You're in the middle. So it was like he's he's constantly checking my parenting skills, like,
Oh,
Mom,
that's funny.
so yeah.
Oh, so funny. I love that. Oh my God, that accountability, forcing yourself to put it out there, what I'm doing, who I am, where I'm going, so that I'm now accountable to the awareness of the people, the community around me. They know who I am. Am I going to violate myself? That is very good because that's putting ourselves in safety even when we want to lure you, even when we want to kind of stray. So that's excellent. That's excellent. You know, I was at my young one's football practice last night, and I was working with the president of the football team, and she had brought two gentlemen with her who was fresh out of prison. One guy, he went in when he was 27. He just got out 8 months ago at 62 years old. And the other young man, I think he went in at 19. He played at the park, and he played with some of the coaches. He went in at 19, and he's just now getting out just a few weeks ago at 48, and seeing his father before he passed. But one of the things that they were sharing, out of the many things they were sharing, but I like how you even made yourself accountable to your children. Lots of times we as parents don't do that, and I'm not saying it's necessary to do or not to do, but for each and every one of us, we have our own need and we identify what needs to be done. But one of the gentlemen said, talk to your children and stop yelling at your children. They had a session with the kids, and then they had a session with the parents. But that was a key thing that I listened to, because sometimes we're used to the old school way, the punishments and the yelling and this, that, and the other. Well, we have to learn how to discipline. And I like how you use that mutual engagement with your son. How did I do? And it brings a bond. It's a discipline. But you're giving them a piece of the pie. And people normally respond well when they're a part of the investment rather than just being issued out from time to time a piece of the investment. So I just wanted to say kudos to that. I love that. Anyone else? Who is it that you need to tell where you're going, who you need to be accountable to, and what is it that you need to share with them? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. We'll go to the next one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Again. Now, I really don't have anyone else to be accountable to, but God in my prayer time.
Okay.
I'm not good at following directions and instructions and anything else from people. So in my prayer time, I have to ask, what is it that you would like me to do? And acknowledge when I don't want to do things that he asks for. But hold myself accountable, and he holds me accountable too. So that helps a lot, my faith base.
Excellent. Excellent. Your faith is a whole nother level of accountability to your well-being. I love that. Being accountable to God, knowing that the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the good and the evil. So that's a real good accountability. Anyone else before we go to the next question? Not question, but the next preparation.
Bianca, for me, it would be God first and foremost. There was a time in my life where, even though his eyes is everywhere, he's beholding the good and the evil. I wasn't gonna be the one to tell him about the evil of my life. So, so I wasn't really accountable, even though I was accountable because he already knew about it. But just to come out and just say, da 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 da. Yeah. Okay. But today it's a whole nother ball game with that. Also with my apostle, very accountable. And the thing with me also is and my children. being accountable with my feelings,
Okay.
what I'm feeling, because I'm kind of like an internal person. A lot of things I just carry on the inside of me. If I don't let it out, in a healthy way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy or anything like that. I do know boundaries and all that, but when I say in a healthy way, if I don't talk it out,
Uh-huh.
then I'm just more or less bringing more. It's just bringing more on me, because now my mind is just going, and my mind is just thinking about this, thinking about it, and so yeah, being more accountable of my feelings, how I feel, how this situation made me feel, how this person made me feel. So being able to express that with those that I can express it with, and yeah, that's what I would like to say.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. I love that accountability to feelings. That is great because sometimes we're not accountable to our feelings. How are you feeling? Oh, I'm feeling fine. And I understand that that has to be an answer for some, but for others, maybe not so much. But, when we find those confidants, those people that we want to communicate with, it's okay to say, I'm not doing well today. Even if you're not in a position to just blah what's going on, because sometimes we don't know what's going on. So many times we have to just kind of learn how to respond and be accountable to our feelings as we're dealing with different individuals. So that's excellent. That's excellent. Anyone else? I think Ms. Susu, did you want to share? Or I think you did. I think everyone shared. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. We want to be prepared for bad weather. Sometimes when we're on this trip of change, stuff happens, stuff comes up. We have emotions that come up. We have feelings that come up. We talked about guilt and shame the other day. We have feelings of guilt that comes up and shame that comes up. Sometimes what we're feeling emotionally as we continue to prepare for this trip and as we continue to make the steps for this trip, in this trip, towards this trip, stuff is going to come up. So we need to be prepared for bad weather. We need to be prepared for the depression. We need to be prepared for the loneliness. We need to be prepared for the anger. We need to be prepared when different feelings arise. What are some of the things that you're being prepared for in this trip, and how are you being prepared? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
God bless you. This is Sister Lorena. Well, I carry my tool bag everywhere I go.
Hey.
Meaning everything that I have acquired, the self-talk, to the compassion, to the reflecting, self-touch, like rubbing my hands so I could calm down, and the awareness, aware of what the situation, how it's making me feel, and how to regulate it.
Okay.
So that tool bag goes everywhere with me.
I love that. I love that. Oh my God, I love that. Because you can't just take a few tools with you and leave the tool bag at home. They have this old saying, I'm going to set my religion down. You can't set it down. If you set it down, then that means you're unarmed. So I like how Sister Lorena said, I'm going to bring my whole tool belt, because you never know what tool you might need, right? You never know. You may expect or be prepared for the snow or for a happy day, but guess what? When you get there, you may find that it's a blizzard. It's not a happy day. It's a problem. And I may have some depression. I may have a whole flood of sadness, a whole bunch of memories that are flooding back. And I left my tool bag at home, so I don't know. I'm not prepared. So that's excellent. Thank you so much. Anyone else, please unmute your phone and share.
Sister Lupe here. For me, I had to, there were times where, where I will I will experience like one day I'm feeling good, the next day I'm not feeling so good, and I'll be like, what is wrong with me? The enemy is attacking me. Oh, the enemy is trying to steal my joy, you know? And I realize that when you start a pattern of change, when you make a decision to change, and also when you are make a commitment to God that you're gonna serve him no matter what, like yeah, some of it is the enemy and some of it is the inner me. And I
Yeah,
have to realize that every day is not going to be rainbows and sunshine, and I just can't turn around and blame it at the devil
yeah,
on the devil, because you know, it's life shows up, and I have to tell myself, okay, today I'm not feeling so well, so
right.
what do I have to do? Let me get into worship, prayer. You know, venting is good, but I realize that it's better when you vent to God. And let me just face it till I make it. Let me start reading the word. And I find even when it starts bad, it doesn't end bad. So it's a lot has to do with just do the work, and you know, just move your body and your mind will follow.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that, Sister Lupe. I love that. I love that. Yes, we have to remember, I just got to keep my body going. I just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I just got to keep pushing. My mind will follow, because guess what? We're regrooming our mindset while we're resetting our brain. So we just got to jump into action sometime. Excellent. I love that. Anyone else? Anyone else? What bad weather do we need to prepare for in this trip? What emotions in this emotion of change? I see Miss Jenny just came on. Good morning, Miss Jenny. You know, what emotions of change that's going to, as we're preparing for our trip of positive change, we're going to have some feelings, some setbacks. We're going to have some anger, some depression, some loneliness, some wrath, and you know, some guilty feelings, and some we're going to go through some self-blame and some self-sabotage, and you're going to go through a lot of different feelings and emotions that pop up that may make other parts of us. We talked about PTSD, you know, those emotional things can make your PTSD or your PTSD symptoms even harder to bear with, because we're moving away into change. It's almost like an emotional withdrawal. So what bad weather do you need to prepare for, and how are you going to prepare for it? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share, guys.
Well, good morning. Good morning, Ms. Jackson
Good
and
morning.
everyone else. I just wanted to, well, I know I just came on in, but you said trip.
Mhm.
Is this the camping or?
Maybe you should listen in a little bit more. No, our lesson today is preparing for the trip. We're preparing for a trip of change. So while we're
Okay.
in this journey of change, we know how to operate in the unhealthy behaviors, but now we're trying to make that journey into healthier behaviors where we're setting down our enabling, our lying, our sexing, texting, our compulsion to the phone, pornography, whatever it is, drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever it is. So when we find that we're making that change, when we're journeying into our change, there's some things that we have to do. The first thing we talked about is let other people know where we're going. You know, being accountable, let people know, hey, don't do that in front of me. Don't ask me those questions. Don't invite me to those places. You know, let somebody know so that you're accountable to where you're going. And some of those people can be a support to where you're going. But now we're talking about preparing for bad weather, meaning where we're preparing for the emotions that come up, the feelings of loneliness, the feelings of despair, where we feel like we're being deprived, those feelings that come. What feelings come up for you as you're walking away from your old behaviors into your new behaviors? What feelings comes up? A prime example for you is you're in your recovery right now from your medical recovery from the stroke. So now that you were in a state where you were able to do anything and everything that you wanted to do, whenever you want to do it, you just get in your car and go. But now, like you say, there's some restrictions and some limitations, not only physically, but there's some limitations on your life with your eating, your what you put in your temple now, what medicines you have to take, the response or the effects of the medicine. So within that journey of healthiness and in recovery, you may have some emotional feelings that come about. So those are what we're talking about right now. So whenever you feel comfortable, jump in and share. But in the meantime, anyone, please go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
Yes, Miss Susu.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'll go on then. Anyway, in my travel of this enablement, I've set boundaries,
Mhm.
but then too, I find myself, kind of feeling sorry, but then there's you go with the self-talk, how is this, reminding yourself, this is affecting someone else and is affecting you, and they're not getting what they need, and you're not either. So it's more or less a self-talk, and turn it away. I have to turn my back. You might have to cry, but you just have to walk away, and just self-talk for me on that one, and not really try to beat it in them, make them understand, but just say it, do it, and walk away.
Right.
Yeah.
Plant the seed or water the seed that's been planted and just walk away. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Excellent. Anyone else?
Miss Jackson, you know what? I was reminded of yesterday that I was talking about the exit plan on every building, right? That they have an emergency
Yes.
exit plan.
That was
And
good.
in my tool bag I also have a crisis plan. What
Yes.
to do in case I am triggered with drugs and alcohol, what to do if I'm triggered in temptation to relationship wise.
Yes.
So it all goes down to awareness, right? Awareness. And it connects to the accountability as well. Because, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm accountable to my sponsor as well.
Right.
Whenever I go through something besides God, that's who I go to.
Excellent. Excellent. That's awesome. I love that, having that emergency plan. For years they've had on the TV that emergency network system where in the middle of the night, sometimes you're just watching TV and they have, this is just a test, and it's so important that sometimes we recognize that we need that emergency broadcast system. We need that emergency network. Your family needs to have a plan. In case of an emergency, in case of this, if you're at school, if you're at work, if you're here, there, and here, where are we going to meet? So the same thing as we're preparing for this trip of change, now that we've made ourselves accountable, we let people know where we're going, what we're doing, so that they don't violate what we're doing. And if they do, of course, we have to have a plan for that. But also being prepared for bad weather, the emotions, like she said, have that emergency plan available to you. Already have it written out. Don't wait for a time of panic and say, oh my God, what am I do now? Again, carry your tool belt, carry your toolbox so that you can operate therein. Thank you so much. I love that, Sister Lorena. Anyone else? What bad weather, what emotions do you need to prepare for in this trip of change?
Yes, it's Jenny. Hello again.
Hello.
Yes, when I was listening in, but when I kept hearing trip, I didn't understand like a physical trip or
Right.
everything you said. I think I've been going through it. On yesterday, I was feeling, I have my days, I have my ups and downs.
Mhm.
And yesterday, the emotion that came over me was I felt, everything's going on and I'm not able to go and able to do what I was doing before. I know I'm recovering. And it's just, I was kind of, I want to say a little um, down because of my progression. I'm trying to rush and it's not going anywhere really. It's a little tiny better, but not, to the point that I'm able to travel, like, or go this, go there. And yesterday I was feeling kind of left out.
Yeah.
I felt left out of a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
with my church family, or can't go to the store like how I want to, just can't jump in. You got to take your time and make sure I don't trip and fall, that kind of stuff. Can't cook the way I want. Um, Putting stuff together is like, okay, that's it. And it tastes all right, but it's not the same. Everything is just not the same right now. And, beating myself up, like I said on yesterday, because I want my recovery to come rapidly. And
Yeah.
it's not coming rapidly enough. And, I was in a funk of, kind of in like sort of a depression on yesterday, just feeling a little down. And I was, just talking to myself, and I'm like, people are busy, and sometimes you just can't call everybody, at one time. Everyone is busy at some time when you're feeling like that. So what's my scapegoat? And the only thing I had was to pull on was to start praying.
Okay.
That's what helped me, and I even asked God, get me out of this funk that I'm feeling, and I just, I was just, angry a little bit, because not angry, I won't say the word angry, just
No, and it's okay if that's your feeling. We don't want to dress our feelings up so they sound appropriate, because I can see how you can have been angry about the situation.
yes. And can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yes. And the yeah, I guess I'll say angry, just angry at my at just my recovery. Just, and like I said, I was just feeling left out. I felt left out in a lot of things. I just can't do what I want to do right now. I was even thinking of what the doctor said. Hey, it depends on your body. It might take 2 days, may take 2 weeks, it might take 2 months, it might take 2 years. God help me. Don't have me be in the 2 years, you know. So, I've been doing my little exercises and everything. Like I said, it's a tiny better, but once I move around and do this and that, it feels the same most of the time. And then I'm like, oh, I walked a little better today. And then it's like, then 5 minutes later when I try to go, oh, there it go, So, but I know that, nothing happens overnight.
Right.
I'm just trying to be in acceptance and then do what I'm supposed to do, for my body and emotionally, because, I was even feeling lonely. I went through everything you stated, Miss Jackson. So funny calling you that. Everything you stated, everything that you just stated, all the emotions, and mind you, I love the rain. When it's really sunny and real hot, I don't feel it, But it's one thing when it rains, it uplifts me. It gives me a peace. It gives me a peace. I don't know why. I know I'm light skinned, but I can't stand being in the sun and burning up. Light skin. But that's where I'm at. And as I continue to pull on God, continue to talk to God, continue to ask him for my help. And then he had me just going in, for other people and my apostle. But, and I guess, that's what we do. We have to pray for other people as well as we pray for ourselves. That's what helps us.
Yeah.
That's what helps me, and but eventually I started feeling, and everybody in the house, they're all, I'm getting frustrated. I had to get out of that. Like, I'm not going to go back to where I was before,
Yes.
And so that was my exit. I got to exit out of that old stuff that used to make me all aggravated and you know, the intensity of my emotions going to the highest, like, and okay, calm down, calm down. You know, God help me. God help me. So that was my that's my exit plan. That's what helped me yesterday was to pull on God
Hey,
when there's nothing around. I have to pull on God, my God. And God, I said, I know you are my keeper. You are my light. You are my rock and my strength.
yeah,
He's everything. He's everything to us. I believe if we just pull on a little more, then I'll get my perfect peace.
that's
You
right.
know, um, so that's what happened, and that's how I got out of my funk. And thank you for letting me share.
Hey, that's perfect. I love that. That's a real life experience when we're in that bad weather of depression, anger, loneliness, like she said, an overall funk, you know, to keep from going into a depression or anything like that. Like she said, she didn't have people to pull on, you know, she had people in her support system and everything, but at the same time, everyone may not be, or someone may not be available to you, you know, so you may call this one, you may call that one, you may call this one. And it's beautiful to have that support. But sometimes, like, you may not feel like it, or you may not be able to go down your supportive system call list. Like she says, so what she does is turn to God and pray for other people. You know, there's a little reading that I had read long time ago. There was a young man who had a cross on his back, and that cross was heavy, it was burdensome, it took every breath he had, it took every ounce of strength that he had to carry that cross. And he just kept crying out like Paul, can you take this from me? Can you take this from me? And unlike Paul, God said, okay, I'll let you leave it, and I'll let you pick something up, because we all got to carry our cross, right? So he took him to this place and he said, now set your cross down and go choose your cross. And he walked in there, he set his cross down, he set all his burdens down, he walked through there, he saw big crosses, he saw tall crosses, he saw wide crosses, thick crosses, thin crosses, all kinds of crosses. And he was like, whoo, don't want that one. Oh my God, don't want that one. Whoo, no, 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 don't want that one. And then over he said, that one over there, I think I'm gonna take that one. And he got that cross and he put it on. Yep, this will do just fine, God. And he walked right on out, not knowing that that was the cross that he left there when he initially went in. What am I saying? Sometimes when we're praying for other people, when we're getting outside of ourselves and we're looking at other people's situations and we're praying for them and we're praying that God deals with their situation that may be greater than yours, it'll change your perspective, and you'll look and you won't see your problems as being so bad after all. And it's like, I can carry this cross, not even knowing the young man in the story, not even knowing that was his cross that he originally brought in. But after looking out and seeing the world condition, my situation ain't so bad. So thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. Anyone else preparing for bad weather? All right, let's go to our next one. Our next one is taking your safe coping skills. You know, taking safe coping skills with us is just as necessary as food and water is for our survival. So what that is I like how Lorena calls it my tool belt. I got to take my tool belt. I got to take my tools, but also I got to take those things along with me in this road of change. I have to take these things along with me that's going to help me cope through situations. Now, I usually have my list handy. I don't have it today. I'm in a different studio, but remember we talked about how to ask for help, noticing our power, identifying where the choice point is. All of these things are coping skills. What coping skill do you take with you? What mechanics of coping? Because remember, life is going to show up, and it's going to show up sometimes not looking as pretty as you like. So in those times, how do I cope with my situation? How do I cope with that temporary circumstance? How do I cope so that I can hold on to my peace and continue in my journey? What do you do to cope? Just give me 1 to 2 coping skills that you use. Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
God bless you. This is Sister Lorena. Meditation and breathing exercise.
Ah, I love it. Thank you. She said meditation and breathing. I love it. Anyone else? What 1 or 2 coping strategies do you bring to the table?
Sister Lupe, I would say keeping my mouth shut and praying.
Awesome. Bring my self-control in, keep my mouth shut, and just whisper a sweet prayer to our Lord. That's awesome. Anyone else?
That would be mine also, just be silent on it,
Mhm.
and think good thoughts, back away. It's me.
Awesome. Excellent. I love it. Think good thoughts and back away. Go ahead. Who's next?
Okay.
Me would be prayer and thinking good thoughts and casting those negative things down. Thank you.
Ah, casting down all those imaginations that come to now separate me from the obedience of the truth of God's word. That's awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? What are your coping strategies just to get through the moment? To get through, sometimes it's not a moment. Sometimes that moment, I like how Sister Jenny said, sometimes, like the doctor said, it might take 2 days, it might take 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, but how do I cope in no time? Go ahead, Sister Kashara, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I was just listening, and also sometimes I'm kind of reserved and backing out of a situation, and prayer really helps me. It really helps me. Prayer and reading. Reading. Sometimes, when you just get in the word, you'll find yourself, you'll find the solution and the answer to whatever the problem is.
Yes, prayer and the word. Thank you so much for that. Like you say, get in the word and you just find yourself right in a documentation of scripture that's just right for your situation. That's awesome. That's awesome. Anyone else? What are some of the coping strategies we need to bring with us on this journey of change?
This Jenny. I have tree actually.
Okay.
That's praying. And which one of the things I don't do as much as I would like to, I find when I read the word, it does give me a peace.
Okay.
And the third one is I like to talk about what's going on with me.
Okay, good.
I don't know if you want to call it venting, or it's not even just a venting, just talking, talking the situation out with someone with wisdom and a confidant. Yeah, but talking about it, because I think silence would bother me more.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you for that, Miss Jenny. Absolutely. Reaching out, calling someone, talking about, and I like how she referenced not necessarily venting, but I'm calling someone. I like how Sister Lupe said the other day, she's wise with who she's talking to. She want to talk to someone that has some experience, someone that has some wisdom, someone that's not just a listening ear that can hear me vent, but someone that can feed solutions into me or plant some seeds that lead me to solutions. So I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
For me, I have more.
Okay, good.
Coming from a very controlling old me, when things don't go my way, when something occurs that a situation that I'm powerless over, I see myself like almost having an anxiety attack, or like, oh my God, I'm breathing fast, and I gotta tell myself, calm down.
Okay.
It's okay. You gotta get used to this change, or
Right.
So self-talk, absolutely. And just keeping in mind that this too shall pass.
Yes. Ooh, I love that. Thank you for that. We've heard prayer, we've heard getting to our word, self-talk, compassionate self-talk, relaxation, meditation, taking a breath, changing our mindset. And I love how Sister Lupe said, letting ourselves know this too shall pass. Nothing's forever. Our life is not forever. Our friendships are not forever. Our situations in life, everything in this life is temporal. So guess what? Our circumstance is temporal. So look at it as such. This is not going to be here always. But if I worry, if I stress, if I continue to have anxiety, it's going to affect me for my always. It's going to affect me for the extension of my life. Stress brings about great burdens to us physically as well as emotionally. So what Sister Lupe says is look at it as it is. It's temporary. We're going to get through this. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. Let's see. Our next one, our next preparation. Let's be prepared for down times. We all have times that's not going to be as fun. And somebody mentioned that today. We're going to have times where life is not just that amazing, or it's not fun, where everything is not going in the right direction. You know, we're not always building and growing. We're not always having a good time. We're not always. So how do we deal with those? How do we deal with those downtimes? I hope I didn't accidentally discontinue anyone. But how do we deal with those downtimes? What do you do when things start kind of getting kind of leveled out? You know, I won't say boring, but it can be boring to you. But it's a downtime where things, you know, the money in the business is not coming in, you know, the flock of the ministry is not coming in. When all those things are not happening, everyone is not having a good time with you. How do we deal with the downtimes? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
God bless you. This is Sister Lorena. You know what? A few years ago, I used to get really discombobulated when things like this occur, right? Because I used to feel that there was something wrong with me, that's why things didn't go well. However, life doesn't always go well. And you know, it's important to acknowledge, to be aware of that, acknowledge it, and embrace it.
Yeah.
So when things are not going well for me, you know, just being able to know what I'm powerful to change, what I'm not, what's out of my power, I'm powerless over. And if I can, you know, just prioritize things of and self-care, a lot of self-care on that. Knowing that I am not responsible for what's going on, not everything that's going on around me. And if I could change something, I'd change it. If not, just accept it.
Yes, I love that. If I can't change it, I have just accepted. Like we talked about, someone brought up about the serenity prayer, and we're going to have a lesson on that as well coming up. But yes, exactly. I love that. Thank you so much, Lorena. Anyone else? How do we deal with the downtimes when things ain't moving and grooving as we would like?
Sister Lupe here. I would say for me, especially now that I'm unemployed, I find myself having a lot of time in my hands. And so even it could become very sometimes dull and boring.
Yeah.
I just start cleaning my house or reading the word, you know, just slowing down because I'm so used to, you know, high stress and moving around and always have something in my hand and do. So I'm noticing that you know, I enjoy it, but there's, because my body's getting the rest, because I'm quieting it down now, I could listen more clearly, letting my mind, you know, I think it was exhausted at some point, so kind of like just relax. So like now I'm having this meeting and I'm doing my hair. Hey,
Mm.
it's Friday. Let me straighten my hair. Let
Yay.
me put on my eyelashes, and I ain't going nowhere, but let me work on at least making myself feel good by looking good and be ready for the weekend so I don't have to worry about my hair on Sunday.
Mhm.
So yeah, like find something, and there's always something to do around the house, and learning how to embrace those quiet moments.
Wow.
It's almost like I was so used to either being on the phone with somebody or somebody needing me somewhere, and now it's like, okay, well, take it easy and enjoy your time
Yeah.
of rest, because it's not gonna last forever.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so yeah, that's what I'm doing, even if it seems a little dull and boring, because I'm not used to it. At the same time, I'm trying to stay busy with the housework and also meditation, and just taking care of myself as well, inside and out.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. I'm reminded of a conversation I had with a daughter that said God's been telling her to rest, and it's hard for her to rest because, just like Sister Lupe said, I'm used to that fast-paced life, and I don't know how to rest. So even re-grooming ourselves to respect the downtime, take some time for yourself. Take a nap if you need to take a nap, take the time to beautify yourself. That's a part of us, not only for external purposes, but for us to feel good. It does something to us emotionally. So I love that. That's amazing. Thank you for that, Sister Lupe. Anyone else? How do you deal with your downtimes?
So I just like to keep busy,
Okay.
put my mind on something else instead of the issue that's going on. Just have to occupy my mind with something like the Bible or, some praise music or something. Just get my mind away from there, focus on something else. That's me.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So in the downtimes, you just take that time to kind of focus on something else. Because just like you said, you're used to going, being busy. So when that doesn't happen, when there's no busyness to acquire, how do you take your mind off something else? What do you put your mind onto to deal with the downtime?
Oh, I can start doing some tutorials, on the cooking or the hair. I can focus there. Like I say, praise music or the Bible, just listen to the word, or even sometimes just reading it myself,
Mhm.
and that'll take me what to say, Calgon, take me away from that situation. Yeah. Mhm.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. Awesome. Calgon, take me away. Anyone else before we go to the next one?
For me, I'm trying to learn how to have some downtime.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, for me, too much downtown. I need to go downtown too. But too much downtime is not good for me.
Okay.
Uh, but then again, I need to have that time where it's just I can relax or something of that. So I'm trying to learn trying to put things in motion for me to have some downtime. You
Mhm.
know, I don't know, just a time where I'm just not really doing anything,
Okay.
But again, that cannot be something that I do for long periods of time either,
Mhm.
because that's not good for me. Because I'm one of those, I'm used to going, doing, so just trying to figure it out. I have not mastered it.
Mhm.
I don't even think I even got a piece of it of yet, but I'm trying to figure it out as I walk it out. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Guys, being dutiful is honorable. I definitely salute you all. Being dutiful, being busy, and staying busy is a great part of recovery as well. But one of the things that we do have to prepare for is that downtime, you know, when things aren't as productive, when things aren't as busy, when we're used to that busy or that high stress life, you know, because that can cause us a relapse into old behaviors because of the stillness. I remember going to Big Bear and I was like, wow, it's so still. I've, you know, been in South Central LA all my life. And when I went up to Big Bear for the first time, there was such a stillness, such a calm. And I was like, wow, you know, and it was awkward. And I had to adjust to the stillness, even in the daytime. It was just so quiet. So in our lives, sometimes it's like that, you know, especially if you've been in the compulsion of your unhealthy behaviors, your addictions, your habits, those repeated cycles and routines that we've been in. Now that we're breaking those cycles, sometimes the downtime of it just seems odd. When I'm not running from the police, when I'm not running from the dope dealer who's trying to chop my neck off, when, you know, I'm not sleeping around, when I'm not enabling someone, when I'm not lying, when I don't experience the thrill of the dopamine from the gambling, when things are quiet and still. We have to prepare for those times. Anyone else before we go to our next preparation?
This Jenny. Oh, I love my quiet time. Give me my bed and a TV remote, and I am good. And you know, back in the days, people would ask me, you know, what do you like to do? You know, on your, you know, on the time, I like to lay down and watch TV. You know, I
Yeah.
do, and still do, and take me a nap to regroup my mind. You know, that helps my mind out because I get tired. You know, my mind goes and goes. I need to sleep a little bit. So that's my downtime. I love my bed. And you know, I like to take a nap. I really do.
Excellent. You know what, Jenny? I'm gonna challenge you with that because I know in this time of recovery, this is a downtime. This isn't a long, it's not going to be a permanent situation, but it is a downtime. And it's like your mind is like, it's fighting because I want to go back to my regular life. I don't want this bed. I don't want the remote control. I don't want to watch the TV, you know, but so I'm gonna challenge you to take good care of yourself and do those things that you enjoy in this downtime, okay?
Yes, ma'am. And that's one thing I'm accepting more and more every day.
Okay.
I'm in acceptance. So, you know, yeah, I will. I will. Thank you.
Excellent. I love that. Anyone else? All right, well, we're gonna go to the next one. Let's talk about taking your map. Let's take our maps with us because we need a guide to where we're going. And this is where we have to reach out for professional help. And professional is not always necessarily degreed help, but someone that's been down that journey and they've been there before and they can help you through it. So for instance, like sponsors, you know, sponsors are a guide, you know, coming on this Zoom call and doing this group daily with me, you know, that's a guide. I'm being guided into a better place. You know, another guide, you know, maybe talking to a therapist to get that healthy guiding, healthy emotional guiding. So what map are you taking with you on your journey? What guide do you have? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
God bless you, this is Sister Lorraine, and I think I mentioned it. My sponsor,
Mhm.
my sponsor, the 12 steps,
Yes.
and of course, Lord, the Holy Spirit. That's one of the best foundations ever.
Yes. That's awesome. That's awesome. Got to have some guidance. The 12-step principles, their sponsor, the Holy Spirit, got to have some guidance. I love that. Anyone else?
Jenny.
Go ahead, Jenny.
You know, when I was saying, mentioning about being feeling left out, you know, what I totally miss is going to service and hearing the word.
Oops. Sorry about that, Jenny. I accidentally muted you. I'm trying to unmute you. Go ahead, unmute your phone because I can't hear you, sweetheart.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I was trying to use someone
I'm just
else's
going
phone
for it.
and accidentally muted you.
I'm all going for it. Yeah.
Well, go for it again. I'm sorry.
No, I was just basically saying that you know, congregating and hearing the word,
Mhm,
going to service, um, you know, that's what I really miss the most. You know, is being of servitude as well.
mhm.
So, you know, that's what I, you know, I've been trying to recover for the most, not just for my health and everything, but I'm like, I gotta get back to church. You know, that's how I feel, you know. I want to go
Yeah,
back to service. I want
yeah.
to drive. I want to drive on the freeway and get to Compton, you know. And you know, that's what, you know, and I'm like, I'm trying to, you know, come up with some kind of plans. I'm like, I wish somebody would drive me at least, or
Yes.
but you know, I know it'll come and it's acceptance. I'm accepting, but
Yeah.
and there's other ways to hear it, and you know, there was a beautiful pastor that that preached on Sunday at my church,
Mhm.
and I happened to call her and told her, I said, excuse me. I mean, the word was so awesome and God just used her. I said, excuse me, did you fast for 40 days and 40 nights before you spoke? Because that was just awesome, you know, and it blessed me, you know, and I
Yeah.
thank God for Facebook Live and you know, and every connection, you know, all connections that you don't feel so left out and say, hey, I didn't see that or anything. When you do have the tool, that's one of my tools is to congregate. You know, that's how I cope. When I got clean and sober for the first, like I say, the first year, I had got a sponsor, and she was just rubbing me all the wrong way, and you know, asked me can she borrow money, which I didn't have money at the time. I was still on the county. I'm like, now I don't have anybody, you know, and her sweating and like, is she on something? You know, well, I'm gonna have to cut her loose. And then
Right.
when I tried, then I tried, you know, that's when I started going to Bible study. I tried God, and that's it. The service, the you know, inside of the church home is
Found your
my
fit.
great tool.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. You found your fit, and being separated from it, it will cause you some discomfort. But like you say, just hang in there. Try to adjust to your downtime because you're going to be right back in there. And it's good that you're not comfortable in your downtime, but you're making yourself comfortable in your downtime. And when I say that, guys, I mean that you don't get so relaxed that you don't go back to the healthy things that you have, the things that build you, those things that add to you. That I'm not comfortable staying away from it, but yet I'm accepting enough that I can respect these downtimes, occupy in it, and continue to move forward in my healthiness. So let's see. We're gonna bring up some more. I have a few others that I'm just gonna maybe read to you, and I'm going to see which ones maybe you need to add to your journey. So we're gonna say the next one. We talked about taking a map. So the next one is carrying a phone that you can reach out for help. Carrying that cell phone when you're moving in your journey, because guess what? You don't know when you're going to need help. So let's carry that cell phone. And let's also remember to start a day for our journey. As we're preparing for our journey, let's start a day when we're going to go. So let's start a date. And I believe you guys already have when we're going to change this unhealthy behavior. Let's start today. Why not today? Let's start. And now we're going to move forward and we're not going to go back. Don't take guilt self-hatred, and blame with you. Don't take those things. We talked about guilt and shame the other day. Don't take that stuff with you because it'll only weigh you down. So this is why we say, get with your therapist, get with the people that you trust and love, and process through some of that stuff. Because if you carry it with you, it's just going to weigh you down, and it's going to cause you to go back to your unhealthy behaviors, possibly, if not, maybe even something that's worse or different. Also, remember that there's never, ever, ever a good reason to go back to the way you used to do things. Remember, as we're moving forward, I don't care what the situation is, remember, say to yourself, there's never a good reason for me to go back to the old way I used to do things. And let's remember that. Also, let's remember that as we're reducing these unhealthy behaviors, there's other areas in our life that may start triggering, like we talked about, possibly PTSD symptoms, the intrusion that may come with flashbacks, the arousal. You may become so agitated. You may feel like I got ADHD or something, you may go through some situations where you begin to feel some ways where now you're disassociating with people. So let's be mindful and identify when we're experiencing that so that we can help ourselves through our journey. Also, surround yourself with safety. Always support, support, support. I don't care if it's one person. I don't care if it's two. Let's not be an island. Isolation, being alone is great, and learning how to be alone is awesome. But when we talk about isolation, that's a withdrawn. Something inside of me is causing me to withdraw from the connection of society, the connection of my church, the connection of my family, the connection of the people that are good for me. I have to stay flexible and connected while I'm staying safe, and sometimes in order to stay safe. So let's surround ourselves with safety on this trip, because I need to be safe in order to get where I'm going. Also, let's never test ourselves. Oh, I've been going good all this time. I haven't done this behavior, and oh, Lord knows when. So guess what? I'm gonna test myself to see if I'm really good. Let's not do that. Let's not test ourselves. It's just like we're not going to stand on the edge of a cliff on a windy day and test ourselves to see if I can keep my balance. No, we're not going to, because the results or the outcome of that can be so detrimental that you may lose your whole sobriety and fall into a pit that's worse than before. Because remember, every time we receive that deliverance, when we go back, understand it comes back 7 times greater. So we want to be mindful of that. Also, understand that the desire, the body's response, the mind's response to your abstinence from that behavior is normal. You're going to want to do that behavior. You're going to want to call Jody. You're going to want to go get a sack. You're going to want to go to the shack. You're going to want to do those things, text and pick up your phone. You're going to want, that's an automatic process of withdrawal. Because the things that you're doing now that you don't want to do anymore, you're going to have to stop yourself, especially in your early recovery. You're going to have to stop yourself from going to do them. So let's understand the desire to want to do that is normal. So let's not be harsh with ourselves. Let's be compassionate. This is a part of my process. Also, we remember the bottom line. The bottom line is I'm changing my life. I'm living free. I'm doing this change, and one day at a time, And for some, it's one moment at a time. I'm getting closer to where I want to be and who I want to be. And I need us to memorize that we can do this. We can do this one day at a time. We can do this. Sometimes I got to have a song in my head, the eye of the tiger, I'm every woman, whatever it is that pumps you up, that causes you to remember, greater is he that's within me than he that's in the world. I can do this. When the down times hit, when it looks like the desire to want to go back to the old way, when they seem like they want to overtake me, guess what? It's just an emotional response. It's okay. It's okay. As long as I don't yield to it, I'm okay. So guys, Out of all of these preparations, which one do you need to pick up and take with you? Please unmute your phone and share.
Sister Lupe, all of the above.
Okay. Okay. She said all of them. I love that. Thank you. Anyone else?
I agree with Sister Lupe, all of them.
All of them. I need all of them. Excellent. Excellent. Anyone else?
Well, I'm gonna concur with the one above.
Okay.
Everything that you give me. Yep, that's gonna help me. Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're going to take it all. We're going to take it all. And I'll be so glad when I can get these tapings to you guys so that you can hear them and you know, and recall them in your hearing. And again, like I said, the taking notes is always a great factor. But thank you guys so much. Anyone else? Which one of these I need to take with me?
I would say basically the same thing. I'm in agreement
Wow.
with everyone, all.
Take them all with you everywhere you go.
Everywhere, because we gonna need them.
Absolutely. That's an old song. Take the Lord along with you everywhere you go, because you're gonna need them, you're gonna need them. So we find in these and now in preparing for a trip, we need to take all these things with us, you know, because the Lord gives us so much. He gives us so many preparations. He gives us principles. He gives us so many things to stay in safety so that we can complete our assignments. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. You guys are wonderful. I love you guys. Thank you so much. For our last thought for the day, I wanted to share something a little different with you. This is from the Seeds of Wisdom book. I know this is a little backwards from Mike Murdock. Mike Murdock, he's a famous man of God who moves in the prophetic. He's written many books of self-help. And this one here is to complete your assignment, how to complete your assignment, Seeds of Wisdom on your assignment. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, of course, but I just wanted to read just a little passage to you and some points that he has to share, because guess what? We're on an assignment to better ourselves so that we can walk in our assignment in the fullness of joy, in the fullness. We all have a purpose in life. This is why we're here. This is why you've been delivered from some of your hard situations of life. This is why you're going through some hard situations of life, so that God can bring you through. And from that experience, understanding that experience, you build a knowledge base, and now it becomes wisdom that you can share with someone else, just like Mike Murdock. He now can share seeds of wisdom because he's been through some stuff and he's understood it. And now he can write some things in a book. So this is Seeds of Wisdom on your assignment, chapter 7. You will only succeed when your assignment becomes your obsession. When you focus your attention and time on achieving your assignment, you will experience favor. Jesus rebuked those who broke his focus, but when he had turned about and looked on to his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, "Get thee behind me, Satan, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but the things that be of man." Mark 8:33. The Apostle Paul, he was obsessed with his assignment. It explains his remarkable victories over his enemies, his adversaries, and even friends who misunderstood him. He explained his focus to the Philippians. He says, "This one thing that I do know, forgetting those things which are behind me and reaching forth into those things that are before, I press towards the mark of the high calling, the prize of the high calling in Christ Jesus." Philippians 3:13-4. He moved away from past hurts. He moved away from failure. Even the memories he moved away from. Obviously, he had a photograph of those things God had placed before him. So we want to focus on things that are before us, and we want to discontinue anything that's going to break our focus from doing what it is that God has called us to do, this assignment. And I'm going to read just a few keys on how to do that. Number one, identify anything that distracts you from your assignment. Number two, be ruthless and refusing any responsibilities that are unrelated to your assignment. Don't get spread out too thin. Become an expert on your assignment. Study to show yourself approved. Avoid any conversation with those that disrespect your assignment. Anyone that comes to separate you. I like how Mike Murdoch says that Jesus rebuked him when he said, you're the Christ. I know who you are. And he said, but no, you're not going to be taken from me. I'm not going to allow that to happen. But that was a part of his assignment. He rebuked him, rebuke anything and everyone that's going to get in between you and your assignment. Prepare for uncommon adversity, like we talked about today. Satan don't want you to complete your assignment. So prepare for the wiles of the enemy. Prepare for his devices so that we can overcome them, because Christ overcame the world, so we can too. Also, disconnect from any relationship does not celebrate your obsession to your assignment. So if it comes in between you and the purpose of God in your life, you might have to disconnect for some people. It's okay. Sometimes you may just have to reposition them in a different place. So that's all we're going to talk. That's all we're going to go today. We have 4 minutes left. Any questions, comments, or statements?
Well, this is Jenny. I just want to say that I really appreciate these grouping times. I know that I was absent from Tuesday to yesterday. My daughter came to visit me and stayed a couple of days with me, and and then it's just good to get back and just try to be, and try to be more organized. And I like I said, I appreciate it because it really helps me. And just to hear the stories and what people are going through that I never, could imagine, and what I'm going through that I'm sharing. So, the grouping is just, it's more of a, it's so intimate to me, and intimate time, and how people can just let go and let God. So, and how, of all the help and all the tools that you give us to cope and to think about, like you said, the trip and the weather, it's just a lot that, to inhale that, inhale that wisdom and that knowledge and put it in ourselves, and how to deal and cope with other stuff on the outside. Yeah. Even, we cope with inside, but also the outside of it. And to help me to stay sober and clean.
Yes, that's right. Excellent.
Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Jenny. Anyone else before we chime out for today?
These classes have been helping me to just reflect and be reminded of tools that I had way at the bottom of my bag and didn't use for a very long time. So wow. It's like a refresher and a reminder that they're there, and just how to utilize them all over again.
I love it. Oh, wow. Thank you. Sister Lorena, I'm so glad of that. Sometimes we need a little shake up, a little refresher course. So remember what I have in my bag. That's excellent. Anyone else?
Bianca, I just wanted to say that I really enjoy these classes, and I'm grateful for the teaching of the learning, to be able to have some new information, to fight and to survive and to stay alive. Yeah. Just grateful, I am one of those. I've said it, and I will continue to say it. It will work if you work it. if you work it, these tools will definitely have the opportunity to, go through this prior, So being able to execute some of these tools prior to this time around, being able to learn some of these tools to see that they really do work,
Yes.
and you don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer because there are some tools out there and there's some people who are qualified to give you those tools. And again, I'm grateful. From the time that I've sat in these classes up until this present time, I want to be able to say that, there has been a change in my life because of the tools that I was given. So I'm just grateful. And again, I say, if you work it, it'll work.
Love it. Love it. Oh, guys, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is 11 o'clock. I'm so glad of all the healthiness that I'm hearing
Miss
on this.
Jackson,
Yes,
sorry.
yes. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I just wanted to give my little input. I'm so sorry.
No, no, go
I just
ahead.
wanted to say I'm really grateful for you and the lessons, the illustrations, the everyday life, the things that we will face, have faced, and shall continue to face.
Yes.
And just these lessons have really blessed me in ways I can't even imagine begin to tell you how much. A lot of times, I don't say a lot because I'm taking it all in. But the tools that we have to know that we can fight and overcome any situation
That's right.
that is set before us. We will go through tests. We will go through trials. We will go through everyday life. But the tool that we have with everyone's illustrations, everyone's different things that they have opposed and come with, knowing that we can make it, all of us, we can make it by just the support of one another, knowing that we're here for each other. And most of all, you are here for each and every one of us. And I tell you, it is such a blessing. And I tip my hat to each and every one that has gone through and know that things don't just happen. Everything that we have that come up against us or come in our lives, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's emotional, or whatever it is, it's because we can help someone else through what we have overcame. Thank you so much. I'm blessed, and I thank God for all of you.
Awesome, awesome. And I thank God for each and every one of you. You guys are amazing. You guys are survivors. You guys are people that God has built an inner strength in by way of his Holy Spirit. You've overcome your adversities. You've overcome your pain, and you're yet overcoming, because sometimes we heal incorrectly. And when we heal incorrectly, or we have strongholds that we hide behind to help us to survive, and we find that some of those strongholdish behaviors don't fit in our future. So you guys are amazing that you guys would step up and you would turn it around. You would turn those things that maybe have healed wrong and make it right. So I commend each and every one of you. I salute you. God bless you all. And we'll meet again on Monday. Have a great weekend and have a prosperous day in the Lord. God bless each and every one of you. Today's group is now over. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Live free.